I feel like now more than ever, independent developers are carrying the games industry forward. When you look to the gaming press and hear of award-winning studios being unceremoniously shuttered because of unrealistic sales expectations, or AAA studios pumping out more microtransaction-riddled battle pass-infested titles,
whose mandate was it to make these games? Who said we needed more?
It truthfully has made video games as a medium less about the players and more about the investors. This has pushed me more towards supporting independent developers and checking out their work, and genuinely, if you aren't paying attention to them, you probably should now. This video originally started as completely separate projects, but I decided that it would be advantageous to put them all into a single piece so that there's more of a chance of people seeing these titles and picking them up. If any of these games appeal to you, please support the developers. Steam links for all the games mentioned will be in the description. So funny thing, I technically already made a video about this game in the past, but it never got published. I used to work for a YouTube channel that did shorts reviewing games, and a few of them I actually got to write and narrate. During the Steam Demo Fest in February of this year, I was scrolling through titles and immediately was awestruck by this. The 90s anime aesthetic paired with the frantic gameplay similar to titles like Post Void or Ultra Kill got me to download the demo, and then I immediately wishlisted it and waited with bated breath for a release date of any kind. And now the game is out, and it's been my hyperfixation since. This is Mullet MadJack, released on May 15th, 2024 by Hammer95. This is a blisteringly fast game that pairs perfectly with the health system and keeps the momentum going. You got 10 seconds of life every stage, and you replenish it every time you get a kill, drink some soda, or fulfill any other means to keep the audience watching your live stream engaged. As long as they're having fun, your quest to save the princess and kill robot billionaires continues. But more importantly, you can get some pretty cool shoes when you complete your mission, so I feel that that's a bit more important.
Oh, don't wait until you're a cold corpse. Spend hot money now!
So much love has been poured into this title, and it shows through how smooth and stylish everything in the game is. All the controls are super tight and very easy to understand. The glory kills that you can get sometimes by picking up items and attacking enemies with them. And it's all wrapped up in this 90s anime OVA aesthetic that I am obsessed with. Hell, there's even an unboxing experience that replicates how it felt opening new PC games in the past. I truthfully miss the days of using primarily physical media, so it's little details like that which make this game such a joy to experience. If anything I said or have shown you about Mullet MadJack struck a chord with you, pick the game up. You won't regret it. Here's a fun fact about me. My least favorite genre in the realm of video games are platformers. I have given so many of them a fair chance, but outside of a handful of outliers, I don't tend to get too excited about them. But recently I picked up Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom by Panik Arcade, and there's just something about it that clicked immediately. Released on April 9th, 2024, you take control of the titular Yellow Taxi and are tasked with doing what has become a staple in the genre. Explore places to collect the things that let you go to more places to collect even more things. But what makes this game so refreshing to me is the way in which the player interacts with the world. It is common knowledge that taxis in real life cannot jump, and this is reflected in the game. To compensate, however, the player is given a spin move that will provide a quick burst of speed. This ability unlocks so much for the player. The entirety of the game turns into paying closer attention to the geometry of the levels, and finding unique ways to launch yourself off of anything around you to grab those ever-important MacGuffins. I found myself wanting to explore the entirety of each level and not just trying to get to this next stage as quickly as possible, which really isn't something that a lot of games can do for me. Who would have thought that the way to get me invested in a 3D platformer is to remove jumping altogether? And no, I don't count that little flip that you can do if you spam the spin move as a jump, although it's pretty helpful in certain situations. Pair that with a hyper-vivid color palette, a bombastic soundtrack, and a story that doesn't need to take itself too seriously, you got the most realistic depiction of driving through downtown Boston on a Friday evening ever put into a video game. Let's move on to our final game. This title actually came out a couple years back, but it wasn't until recently that I picked it up on a whim. Like I said with Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, platformers and I tend not to mix well, so let me know what convinced me to pick up Grapple Dog by Medallion Games on a whim other than its charming art style, funky soundtrack, and yet another dog in digital media that I would take a bullet for. Oh yeah, you get a grappling hook too. Released on February 10th, 2022, Grapple Dog has you take control of Pablo, the apprentice of a scholarly professor who's attempted to hunt down ancient relics left behind by the great inventor in order to research them. Unfortunately for them, Pablo accidentally releases the evil robot Null that chased the inventor away in the first place, so now it's up to him and his friends to get the relics before the bots do. This game feels so buttery smooth to play, I really cannot stress this enough. From the jumping, to the swimming, to the swinging, everything feels so fine-tuned and well-oiled that it's easy to fall into a sort of flow state when you're clearing levels. Each stage is filled with so many things that help you gain access to bonus levels and boss fights that are genuinely so much fun that you feel inclined to explore the entirety of it. I'm purposely keeping all of the gameplay footage to only World 1 and 2 because as you progress further, the game introduces some wild stuff to keep platforming engaging, and I seriously implore you to experience it yourself. Just make sure you let Pablo sit down or take naps occasionally. Saving the world is pretty hard work for a dog. So pretty dope games, right? This is normally the part in these kinds of videos where there is a sort of call to action talking about how the video game industry should go back to when things were fresh and different, to be open to explore ideas that evolve genres or refine them to a more polished degree instead of just trying to milk as much money out of a title as possible, to not pump out meaningless derivative titles that will just be swiftly replaced by future installments. But I'm no kind of authority on this, I'm just a person who enjoys playing them. You watched the video too, right? These games are already out there. You just gotta stop looking to corporations and start looking to independent developers who are the real ones pushing the industry forward. The title of this video isn't necessarily accurate, saying indie games are the future. Independent games and independent developers have always been the future of video games. Thank you so much for watching. If you're an independent developer or you have indie games that you want to recommend to me, please leave the titles in the comments below so I can check them out. This video definitely took longer to make than anticipated, so thank you for your patience. I hope to see you all again sooner rather than later. So yeah, thanks.